The best keyboard isn't Keychron. Wait, I can explain. Howdy, hey, I'm Hipyo Tech. If you ask anybody in the keyboard community what keyboard you should get, there's a chance the name Keychron came up. Now, it was an incredibly good option, but I think I just found something so much better. Keyboard competition is still alive, baby. In this video, I'll be building the Zoom TKL. Now, originally, I didn't think this keyboard was gonna be that great, but holy cow, it blew my mind. Speaking of blowing things up, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as I'm sure 67% of you haven't, or some random number. But let me just zoom out. Now, full disclosure here, Melitrix, aka Wuche Studios, is a sponsor of the channel, and I'll have the keyboard linked down below if you want to check it out. But just know, anytime I work with keyboards, I don't take a script, I get to say whatever I want, and they don't get to review the video. I make a really big deal about this just because I want you guys to know if I'm talking about a keyboard and it's sponsored, it's the same opinion I'd have if it wasn't sponsored. I just get to pay rent, so that's nice. Speaking of nice, let's talk about the unboxing experience. So for just $179 US, you'll get a carrying case, lots of foam, a cable that's decently tacky. Honestly, I don't like this cable very much because it's coiled. Coiled cables are kind of lame. And a keyboard. You won't get the battery for the base price, by the way. Now, I'm gonna go over the basics about the keyboard here. For $179 US, you get the Zoom TKL Essentials Edition. Now, this is a bare bones custom keyboard, meaning you'll need your own switches and keycaps, but you get to choose 10 different case colors. Whew. Now you're probably thinking, Hipyo, if I buy this right now with the link in the description, am I even gonna get it this year? Unfortunately, no. But wait, it's already November? Oh God. Allegedly, this board will start shipping in January of 2023 to anyone that buys it now. That's actually really good for a group buy. Like even Keychron, as I mentioned before, took a solid month or two to ship out their boards for the Keychron Q series. Those boards also go out of stock quite frequently. Keychron boards also ping like blacksmith anvils, and I'll be putting this board to the test to see if it does as well. But at its price point of $179, it is right smack dab there to fight the Keychron Q3 to death. Now you're probably thinking, Hipyo, why are you hating on Keychron so much? Well, fair point. I've recommended Keychron a lot in the past, and I still do recommend them as a good board. I do just think that this board is a slightly better option in almost every way, so I feel like it's worth comparing very generously. Anyways, this board comes with the hot swap PCB, and oh, well, it also comes with stabilizers, I think. Now, if you're building one of these at home and kind of following along, please use the little stabilizer donuts. Yeah. I'll stop most of the comparisons and just kind of get right into the build. The disassembly of this board was relatively easy. I did have to use my own screwdriver bits, but they included an Allen key if you're patient enough. I just used my WoW stick. Wow, link in the bottom left. Click the view product button. Now that we got those pesky little screws out, we can take this thing apart. Now, I was a little bit confused as to where the gaskets are gonna go, but I guess I'll figure that later. So there's a couple different plate options for this keyboard, but you can choose default between polycarbonate and aluminum. I recommend polycarbonate. Aluminum's kind of cringe. Speaking of very cringe, not using foam in a keyboard build. I'm kidding, that's a joke, please don't kill me. So I think these are the gaskets and I'm gonna set them to the side. And then this is for the battery and stuff. If you don't have it, you can replace it with foam. In order to install the switches without literally wanting to die, I need a bit of foam to go in between the plate and PCB. Also, there's this little tiny bit of foam that I can put below the stabilizers I already installed. Okay, problems gone. No problems here. No, don't show that, don't show that. Get that out of there, stop, don't show that. Okay, just gonna move that over there. No problems happened here at all. Okay, as I was saying, no hiccups at all, no hiccups. You take a little bit of foam and you put that in between the plate and PCB, and when you're building a keyboard that's hot swap, your life gets saved. Now, speaking of my life getting saved, I have these switches from Wuche that are pre-lubed. Hey, that's really good. Now, VoiceOver Hipyo has totally forgotten what these switches actually are, but I think they're the quartz switches, and honestly, I'm too lazy to look it up. Update, I just went to the bathroom. Still, currently too lazy to look it up, but hey, they're switches. They feel incredibly smooth and are really good right out of the box. Like, I don't feel like I need to lube them, and honestly, these oh, nice back of the head content. Very good. So good. Now this goes out to all of you that are building this keyboard at home. Make sure when you install your switches, you support them from the back. That way you don't pop out a hot swap socket, because then you'd have to resolder it, and then if you have to solder, it defeats the whole point of hot swap. So next I'm just going to install my switches via a little bit of magic. There. It was magic. There you go. Now that the magic is done, I'm just gonna casually set this over to the side, and it's gonna be why are you showing the mess again? Stop showing the mess part of the build, bro. As you might have noticed, I did get a battery with the board. Now this board has a Bluetooth option that's more expensive, but I mean, if you like that, that's your thing, so go for it. Now, if you do get the battery version, you've got to install the battery, and if you don't get the battery version, then you've got to take out the weight and install the foam, because dear God, you need the foam. It's important. Now, I do have some worries about this battery maybe getting too warm, but I'm not an electrician, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Speaking of not worrying about it, I'm just gonna not worry about it and put the foam on. It took like 10 tries flipping it around. Next, you just want to plug in the little cables for the daughter board and the battery. This keyboard does have a daughter board so that when the gaskets flex, you don't put a lot of strain on the USB-C port. Now, I'm also going to be installing the gaskets. These are not noodles, so they are gaskets. And this is actually one of my favorite type of gaskets, and nice headshot. They're kind of like a gasket sock, and they give the board a very nice uniform amount of flex. Like across the whole thing, this is a breeze to type on. However, you might have noticed that this is also the same exact gasket technology that Wuche deployed in their $400 keyboard. So you're basically getting the $400 worth of engineering for half the price. I did make a video on that keyboard, and I'll put the link in the top right. However, some of you might have noticed that I forgot to put the back weight on. So now I have to do most of that assembly in reverse so I can put the back weight on. I won't show you any of the boring stuff, but you have to choose silver or gold. Okay, you chose silver. Great work choosing silver. That was really nice of you to choose silver. If you didn't choose silver, comment down below why you're wrong. There are a ton of different backplate colors for this board, and I do think that the glassy, like prismatic-y looking ones are way cooler than these silver ones, but they are very cool, and I'll show you this really nice ASMR peel. Wow, look at that. Wow, such a nice peel. I'll just let it ride out. I'm not gonna cut this. You're not gonna cut this, right? I would like to formally apologize that there was no audio to go along with that. I accidentally had my audio on mute for this whole entire recording. So there was no build sounds this video. I'm sorry. I can't go back. But hey, that's the authentic Hipyo Tech scuffed keyboard building experience that you signed up for by hitting the subscribe button. Next, I'm gonna put these little rubber feet on. One of these is adhesive, which is okay. And the next one kind of pops into the screw holes, which is significantly better. Now that just gives us a second to appreciate the beauty of this mirror weight. I hated on it for a second earlier. It's really pretty. I'll give it to it. Like, look, I can watch a Hipyo Tech video in the reflection of my keyboard. This is genius. We don't need televisions anymore. Speaking of televisions, that doesn't relate to what I just did, but here's the keycaps that I used from drop.com. I'll link them down below. It's GMK Serenity. Also, if you're curious, that teleporting cat is my cat Nola. She is a very good girl. Sometimes. Sometimes she's a good girl. Earlier, she was not that good of a girl. See the video in the top right. I built her a keyboard and it thocked. So now that I have this keyboard built, what do I think? As I mentioned before, if you're deliberating between getting a Keychron Q3 and this is the better option. Why is that? Well, the materials are better, the build quality is better, the gasket performance is better, the sound is better, and the sound is better. Here's the one thing you give up when you get this instead of the Keychron. The RGB that's per key. That's pretty sad, honestly, that's pretty sad. But what I will show you is that this board has something a little bit cooler, which is side RGB. But little things like that where you have to weigh your options of what you want more in a keyboard is kind of what made this hobby so fun to me when I got into it. Is I literally was like, do I want this? Do I want that? And that type of decision making is what makes you form an opinion. And opinions are terrible. Good, I mean good. Yeah. Anyways, this is it compared to the Zoom 65. For some reason, this just feels so much more premium than the Zoom 65, which was their last keyboard that was in the same line. But I also really liked the Zoom 65 because it felt like mid-premium. But now that they released a board with a similar price that is so much more premium, I'm just kind of sitting here like, guys, where was that with the Zoom 65? It was already so good, but now it could be even better. Maybe Zoom 65 V2 with everything like that made this board so good? Oh, here's the RGB, by the way. It's really nice and disturbingly bright. This actually reminds me of the GMMK Pro's side glow, but they pull it off so much better. It just forms a more smooth line of light on the side. And look at that nice little animation. So I think ultimately, if you're patient enough to wait a few months, then this keyboard is an amazing choice. Check out this gasket performance. It's not the flexiest board, but it does feel a breeze to type on, and it sounds really good without any additional mods. I was really going into this expecting to have more critiques of this board, and I'll post them on Twitter if I find any, but honestly, I was really stoked with this keyboard, and Mellotrix, aka Wuche, knocked it out of the park this time. Anyways, I'll be leaving you with the sound test, and let me know what you think in the comments down below.